Hello everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Velvet Lounge Life. And it is an Outlander edition. Please remember to subscribe to our channel. Give us a thumbs up. Also, we are the best unedited channel on YouTube. So yes, no fluff, no gruff, no fake comedy, none of that. We're just going to give you the facts. Nothing but the facts. Book 'em, Dano. I don't know why I said any of that. But remember, we do have a drawing for free gifts, and we're giving away our 8-book Outlander series. Plus, when book number 9 comes out after I've read it a couple times, that book will also be given away. We have other beautiful prizes, which I've talked about many times, such as crystals. We have beautiful set of goblets. So you'll get 2 of these. And they're made by hand. We have pottery, as well as some jingle jangle, some Celtic jewelry, and some other things that will be amazing. And all you need to do to enter is subscribe to our channel, comment, give us a thumbs up. Sharing the videos is an extra bonus. So share the playlist if you're on like Facebook, just copy and paste the playlist into your Facebook group, and we get that a lot, which is really nice. The bad thing about it is a lot of people aren't subscribing, because what we have to do is reach 2,225 subscribers. Then we're going to give away all 12 gifts, plus we might have some bonus gifts added to that. So if you are interested in becoming an owner of any of these beautiful things, here is another one, which is an antique Majelica plate by, I think it's called Fitz and Floyd or Lloyd or something like that. I don't remember the name exactly. I would have to look it up, because the other thing I'm going to do is make a list of all the prizes. So, yeah, please make sure you subscribe so that you could be part of that party when we have it. And also, we pay the postage, and you don't have to, like, we're not going to, we'll do a video that will have the drawings on it, but you don't have to, like, be part of the live in order to win. Even if you're not part of the live, I am keeping a list. I have my entire Google list of everyone that is a subscriber. The names will be drawn from that list. So, and then we'll contact you. So let's get into this. So we are at season 5, episode 2. So there is unrest in the town. So much so that Murtaugh is the leader of that group of regulators. And remember, he's not alive in the books at this point. And Herman Husband in the books is the leader of the regulators. So there's a lot of different things in this particular episode that are completely 100% different than the books. And so in the unrest, the fellows, you know, are trying to get the British to listen to their needs, their demands. Or at least be reasonable, meet them halfway, and the British are like, no, we're not doing any of that. As a matter of fact, we're barely even listening to you. So they get so angry that they tar and feather some of the guys. And this is a picture that I like. It's not part of the television series, but I don't know why I like this picture. I know it's macabre, it's bizarre, it's an oddity, but hey, I like oddities sometimes. And so they end up tarring and feathering the fellows, but on the show, it is kind of gruesome, the aftermath of it, the actual act. Okay, there's some screaming, some scorching, it's not that bad. But the aftermath is really where they suffer, because the quills, or the hard part of the feathers, remain stuck into their bodies. Obviously, severe burns, and Jamie sees like some of the injuries that have occurred, and he's like, whoa, I can't believe, like, internally he has these thoughts. Is like, whoa, I can't believe that Murtaugh and the regulators went that far. But yeah, they are planning on going all the way if they need to. But super spoiler alert, the In the books, the regulators back down. They never fight with Jaime's militia or the British because they realize that they don't have the supplies, they don't have the manpower or the weaponry to go up against basically an entire British army, because the Brits will send as many as they need to, and then you have the people who are part of Jaime's militia. So they realize in the books that that's not possible. They back down, they dissipate, and that's it. How far will it go on the television show? Don't know. Why? Because Murtaugh is still alive, and we know that he died at Culloden. So it could go as far as the writers want it to go. Bree is still tormented but also angry and concerned about Stephen Bonnet. So she's still thinking about that, and of course, this needs to have a conclusion. So another super duper spoiler alert, Stephen Bonnet in the books ends up getting executed. However, previous to being executed, which I told you about in one of the previous videos I created, the women of the Ridge do get revenge on him by gunshot. So he's not, and he also gets beaten up, like physically beaten up by the women. And then he also gets shot. But Bree, actually, was it Bree that shot him or Marcelly? But he definitely gets shot. And he hobbles off, into the woods. They're not sure if he's dead or alive in the books at that point. Obviously, he's alive because later on is when he gets executed. So Claire is really worried about the medical treatment and self-treatment, over-the-counter treatment is what we would call it nowadays, that people are giving themselves, because this lady brings her husband in for treatment. Unfortunately, it is too late for him because of the myriad of ridiculous things that this poor lady did to her husband, thinking she was helping him, but actually they were each one of these treatments, such as the bloodletting, giving him mercury tablets, etc. Each one was basically putting a nail in his coffin, because what happened is his appendix ruptured, and an appendectomy is something that Claire could have given him if he had come in earlier, and he would have been alive, probably, if he did not die from infection. Because the other thing that Claire is trying to do on the television series is to create penicillin or a type of antibiotic. Because, as she explained to Bree, baby Jemmy could simply scrape his knee, and it's possible he could die from infection because they don't have anything to treat him appropriately. Okay, so they know that honey is something that you could actually put over a wound, and it's something that they actually used back in the 1700s to stave off infection. I don't know if they really knew what they were doing when they did that. Did they think they were just protecting the wound from dirt and grime? But at the end of the day, honey does have antibacterial properties. And it's something that's mentioned in this episode by one of the other ladies of the Ridge. And then there's a debate about using a remedy that the King of England is using, which actually is a poison. And Claire explains that to them, and she concurs with this lady when she talks about using honey for a burn. And guess what? Everyone wants to do what the king is doing. So how many people are going to get poisoned? This lady who brought her husband in, actually, he probably died from mercury poisoning, and then eventually his appendix ruptured. So, poor guy suffered for sure. He did not survive, and Claire decided his body will not go to waste, so she kept it so that they could do autopsies on it, which obviously would have been blasphemous to do back then. And, Bree talks to her about that, like, are you playing God? We're saving people that normally wouldn't have been saved, etc. We're bringing in technologies and knowledge that wouldn't have been known. And she reminds Bree that Bree coming to save Claire and her dad, well, her mom and dad, that was also a version of playing God, and their mere existence in the past is, in a way, playing God, and giving Jamie the knowledge that he has, which has impacted the future as well as the past, is in a way playing God. So all of them are basically touching upon that. And once Bree realizes that, she decides to help her mother, you know, a bit as far as getting the word out about appropriate medical treatments. Oh, and something else to mention is that Claire decides that she needs an assistant, because if she's away from the ridge, or if she can't get to the person fast enough, but someone else can that she trains, that would make sense. So she actually decides to train Marcelly. She asks her, she invites her, she doesn't just tell her you must do it. And Marcelly, after some trepidation, she actually agrees. And she actually is giving her lessons in secret, of course, so that she can begin her medical training. So, Jamie, and I put this picture here just because I love it, but Jamie is still tormented between going between the British as well as his own people of the Ridge, as well as, of course, he's connected to the regulators, sort of, but not really, in a way, kind of. And so he is, you know, still having the thoughts of how do I play this game, but it's getting to the point where he has to really strongly make it appear that he has taken sides. So some of the regulators, 3 of them were arrested. Poor Ethan in the center, he actually gets murdered by Lieutenant Knox. And of course, you know, everyone in the room is like, I can't believe that just happened. Jamie at that point sort of has to make it look like he's taking a side. And he's like, you know, basically, you know, you had to defend yourself. And of course, the other guys are like, whoa, what just happened here? We thought you were on our side. And Jamie is, you know, still in this like tornado where he's like, what do I do? And he's thinking on his feet, and at least he's able to think his way out of this. He does help these 2 guys break out of jail, because right now this is the jail that they're in, that particular scene and set. And he also talks to Knox, who he later tells them basically, well, you did what you had to do. And of course the cogs and wheels are turning in his brain, and these guys go back and they tell Murtaugh what happened. Bree gives shooting lessons to her husband, Roger, but in doing so, she realizes that something is weird, something is off. It's not just, you know, Roger is definitely willing to learn, so that's not the problem. And then she realizes that it's his vision that is an issue. And so she will report that back to Claire, who will later on have a conversation with Roger, which we will get to soon. But in, you know, while they're out here doing what they're doing, they're also having conversations and trying to figure out, you know, where do we belong in the grand scheme of things? What in the world are we getting ready to do? You know, we're going to war. So Bree helps Claire to get the word out to the ladies of the Ridge about better medical treatment. So what they do is they handwrite lots of flyers to hand out to the ladies so that they have a guide for, you know, so they're sort of like teaching them, but not making them aware that they're being taught, so that they can hopefully stop poisoning each other by accident and using, you know, archaic type remedies in treatments that make no sense. And she's doing it in the name of the doctor whose medical case and microscope she now owns. And yeah, so that's a thing that his name was Dr. Rawlings, just in case anyone wanted to know that. And so they're hoping that this will help stave off some of, you know, the suffering and the deaths and the negative treatments. So as I stated, Bree reports back to Claire that Roger is having an issue with his eyes. And so Claire creates, you know, a mechanism so that she can test his eyesight. And while they're doing this, you know, she realizes that he has just a little bit of weak, I believe it's nearsightedness in one eye, but it's nothing tragic. It's nothing that he even needs glasses for. She never says he needs eyeglasses. But, you know, they're trying to figure out, even Roger, like, why his vision seems to be off. Roger thinks that maybe it could be psychological, because, hello, they went through a lot, and plus Roger already has suffered traumas. He can, you know, even coming over on the Gloriana, you know, is there something nutritionally wrong? Because obviously they, you know, it could be anything. So they have a heart-to-heart, and they talk about other things, and some of those other things are, you know, the fact that they exist in this particular parallel universe past time. And she basically tells Roger, I know you agree with me that you, Bree, and Jemmy should go back to the future. It is incredibly dangerous here. I can't protect everyone from everything. She could barely protect everyone from anything sometimes. And Roger is like, you know, he doesn't come out and say, yes, I want to go. I want to take my family and leave. But he basically makes Claire aware that Bree does not want to leave. And wherever she is, he's going to be. And also, they can't verify or know if Jemmy can even travel. But I will give you a super duper spoiler alert. Jemmy can travel, and in the future, he will travel to the future. So Murtaugh has been given a report about everything that happened in town. The fact that, you know, Jamie was, you know, involved in the stuff that happened at the prison. Helped these two dudes escape. They're the ones that are reporting to Murtaugh. But he also makes them aware that if anything occurs, like if it's a knockout, drag-out fight, Jamie will be there for them. Don't worry, it's his godson, you know, because some of the regulators are questioning the loyalty of his godson. So one of the cool things that happen in this episode is baby Jemmy takes his first steps. So, but Roger and Bree, once again, have that conversation about, is it safe for us to be here? You know, whatever. The thing is, like I said, they don't know if their baby can travel. So, and this is a romanticized picture that I borrowed from someone, and it's Stephen Bonnet over, you know, looking over the happiness, and he's not happy, obviously, of Roger and Bree. And the reason that this is here is because Stephen Bonnet is physically back on set. He is in this episode, and of course he's up to no good as usual, cheating, etc. He even injures a guy permanently by blinding him by running his blade across his eyes, in the bridge of his nose. And of course, you know, he has a reputation, so everyone knows already that this is a bad dude. At the end, he basically says something to one of the fellows at the fight as, you know, the reason I didn't kill him is because I have a child. You know, he has a son now. And so that kind of leaves people, like, with their mouths agape. They have no idea why he said that. And there you go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, there's a lot more that I could actually give you, tell you. If you want me to spill anything else, let me know. I will do it. Give us a thumbs up for the video. Remember that your health is your wealth, and without your health, you have nothing. So please, please, please take care of yourselves and enjoy.